Returns. Returns. So returns is the simple concept when you receive the material into organization due to any reason. If you want to return the quantity to the supplier, he will create the return transactions. So here, after receiving the material, see first here we are having different steps to ways to receive the material into organization and deliver the quantity to the sub inventory. So if you take the example, receipt routing, inspection required. So you take it, then you will understand. So what are the places we can return the quantity? So you can return the quantity from inventory location. You can return the quantity from quality flow. You can return the quantity from sub inventory. From all the three, anytime you can return the quantity to your supplier. So after creating the returns, normally supplier will return the payment. So against which invoice supplier will return the payment, it is what? Debit memo. So after receiving the material in payables, it will create the payable invoice to make the payment. Once you return the material, supplier will return the payment. Against what? Debit memo. It is invoices are payable invoice and debit memo. So here, step 1, write it. Create purchase order. Create PR. Create PR. Navigation, purchasing, purchase orders, purchasing, PO. Purchasing, PO. Select supplier name, TM underscore Bajaj. Select supplier site, ship to site, Hyderabad, TM underscore high tech city. Select item, TM underscore NAT, TM underscore NAT. Select quantity, 100 quantity. Select need by date. Select need by date. Go to shipments. Select inventory organization, TMH. Receiving controls. Go to receiving controls. Here you select the receipt routing, inspection required. See, any receipt routing you can select, not a problem. So if you select direct delivery, when you create the receipt, what will happen? Immediately system will deliver the quantity to the sub inventory. From there only you have to return the quantity to the supplier. If you select the standard, first you will receive the quantity to the location, then you will deliver the quantity to the sub inventory. So you can return from location, you can return from the sub inventory. If you select the inspection required, you can return from location, you can return from quality 4, you can return from sub inventory. At a time you can test it, 3 we can complete it. So select receipt routing, inspection required. Then save the form. Save the form and submit for approvals. Save the form, submit for approvals. Submit for approval. Select approve, select OK. Next continuation, create receipt. Create receipt. Create receipt. Receiving quantity to location. Receiving quantity to location. Receiving quantity to location. Navigation, inventory, transactions, receiving receipts. Inventory, transactions, receiving receipts. For that, let me find argument. Let me show you. Organization DNH. TMNet. What 570 available. Fine. Receiving receipt. How much quantity you ordered? 100. So select PO number what? 40. Fine. Select button find. Minimize or close this receipt header. So here my supplier supplied only 80 quantity. We ordered 100, but supplier supplied 80 quantity. So you have to update quantity 80. So here you can't select sub inventory. Why? Because we are receiving material to only location, inventory location. Save the form. So we ordered 100, supplier supplied 80. We received into inventory location. Still quantity available in the location only. So now first note down the receipt number 5011. Then close it. Close the form. Now from the location I want to return the quantity. Some quantity due to any reason 80 we received. I want to return some 10 quantity to my supplier. Create receipt. Create receipt. Sorry, create returns. Create returns from inventory location. Create receipt. Sorry, create return from inventory location. Create return from inventory location. Navigation, inventory, transactions, receiving returns. Inventory, transactions, receiving returns. Inventory, transactions, receiving returns. Fine. So open the form. Enter the receipt number 5011. Select button find. Select button find. Select button find. So enable the line. How much quantity you want to return? 10 quantity. How much quantity you want to return? Enter that quantity here. 10 quantity I want to return. Return to what? Return to whom? Supplier only, right? So return to supplier. Return to supplier. Save the form. That's enough. Select quantity. Select return to. Save the form. Then close it. Close the form. Now inventory location. How much quantity available? 70. 100 ordered. 80 received. 10 quantity returned. Now 70 available in the inventory location. This 70 quantity I will transfer to what? Quality floor. Quality. Why? Because we selected inspection required. Next, continue. Create receiving transactions. Create receiving transactions to transfer the quantity to the quality. Create receiving transactions to transfer the quantity to the quality. Navigation, inventory, transactions, receiving transactions. Inventory, transactions, receiving transactions. Receiving transactions. Select receipt number 5011. Select receipt number 5011. Select button find. Select button find. Select button find. Enable the line. Enable the line. Select inspect. Select inspect. Select inspect. So here accepted 50 quantity, rejected 20 quantity. Only 70 quantity available, right? 70 quantity, my inspection people accepted 50 quantity, rejected 20 quantity. Save the form. Select. Okay, here if you want, you can select why you rejected, why you accepted, reason codes, you can select it. Select button, okay. Then save the form. Save the form. Save the form. Then close it. Close the form. Now what I have to do, whatever quantity rejected, I want to return to the supplier. Continue. Create returns from quality. Create returns from quality. Create returns from quality. Create returns from quality. Navigation, inventory, transactions, receiving, returns. Inventory, transactions, receiving, returns. Inventory, transactions, receiving, returns. Open the form, select receipt number, select button, find. Select button, find. Select button, find. So here, there are two lines are there. See, accepted quantity also you can return, not a problem. But normally, will return rejected quantity. So you select, in the bottom you can find it. So first line is reject. Second line is accept. So I want to return first line quantity, right? How much quantity you want to return? 20. Return to what? Supplier. Return to supplier. Save the form. Save the form. Rejected quantity. Return to the supplier. Then close the form. Now how much quantity available in quality flow? 50. 50 quantity I will deliver to the sub inventory. Continue. Create receiving transactions to deliver the quantity to the sub inventory. Create receiving transactions to deliver the quantity to the sub inventory. Navigation, inventory, transactions, receiving transactions. Inventory, transactions, receiving transactions. Open the form, select receipt number 5011, select button, find. Select button, find. Select button, find. Enable the line. So this is the 50 quantity finally available in quality flow. Delivering to what? Destination type inventory. Then only you can select the sub inventory. Select sub inventory. Save the form. Save the form. Save the form. 50 quantity we deliver to the sub inventory. Again, I want to return quantity from sub inventory. First, you close this form, receipt form. Next, create returns from sub inventory. Create returns from sub inventory. Create returns from sub inventory. Navigation. Navigation. Inventory, transactions, receiving, returns. Inventory, transactions, receiving, returns. Open the form, select receipt number, select button, find. Select button, find. Select button, find. So how much quantity you want to return? 20. I want to return 20 quantity. To what? Supplier only. But first you can return to the receiving location. From there you can return to the supplier. Directly you can return to the supplier also, not a problem. Select supplier. Save the form. Save the form. Then close it. Now tell me finally how much on hand is available in sub inventory? 30. So earlier it was 570. Now available 30 against this transaction purchase order received. So finally we can find 600 for the item. TM underscore net. This is what returns. Returns we can do from any place. That can be location, that can be what? Quality, sub inventory. So returns are completed. Next, corrections. Next transaction is corrections. So corrections meaning is what? If receive more or less based on supplied quantity, same receipt we will correct it. For example, ordered some quantity, supplier supplied some quantity. Supplier supplied 50 quantity. By mistake, my user receipt created for 40 quantity. That was user mistake, human mistake. Actually, user has to create receipt for how much quantity? 50 quantity. But by mistake, he created for 40 quantity. But when we are receiving physically available there 50 quantity. So then you have to correct the same receipt. You should not create another receipt. So here you can say supplier supplied 50 quantity, one receipt created for 40 quantity. There is what is the answer? You create another receipt for 10 quantity. But how many times supplier supplied this quantity? One time. How will you create the two receipts? Same receipt you have to correct it. Whatever done mistake, that you have to correct it. Same way, supplier supplied 50 quantity, my user by mistake receipt created for 60 quantity. That also you have to correct it. To what? 50 quantity. When receive more or less, we can create the corrections only. Write it. So now I'll use the same receipt. What is the 5011? So actually, see, that is different. This one is different. So you just think about this receipt only for corrections. Actually, receipt they have to create for 30 quantity. By mistake, they created for 30 quantity only. They created. Uh, Better you create another one. Yeah, step one, create PR. Create PR. Again, it is unnecessary confusion. Create PR. Navigation, purchasing, PO. TM underscore supplier, Citrus site, bill to site, item, some quantity, 50 quantity, select need by date, go to shipments, select TMH, save the form. Save the form. So purchase order created for 50 quantity. Submit for approve. Select approve, select OK. Then note down the PO number and close the form. Then create receipt. Navigation, inventory, receiving, inventory, transactions, receiving, receipts. Inventory, transactions, receiving, receipts. Select organization, enter the PO number, type to 11. What is the PO number? 4011, right? Select button, find. Select button, find. Minimize or close this receipt header. Enable the line. Select 30 quantity. Select 30 quantity. Select sub inventory. Select 30 quantity. Select sub inventory. Okay, fine. Save the form. Close. Now, earlier it was 600. Now we can find the 630 in system. But my supplier was supplied 40 quantity. 40 actually. Or 50, anything. But user did mistake. Receipt created for 30 quantity. Physically, if I see in the sub inventory where available 640, in the system available 630. Why? Because physically they received 40 quantity, but in the system 30 quantity only they received. So we have to correct the same receipt. Next, create corrections. Create corrections. Create corrections. Navigation, inventory, transactions, receiving, corrections. Inventory, transactions, receiving, corrections. Inventory, transactions, receiving, corrections. Enter the receipt number 5012. 5012. select button find, select button find. Here, enable line. How much quantity here you have to enter? 10. So if received more, here you enter the negative quantity, minus. Now what happened? Supplier supplied 40 quantity, but receipt created for 30 quantity. So enter positive quantity. In another case, supplier supplied 30 quantity, receipt created for 40 quantity. In that case, enter minus 10. So select here 10. Just a minute. Okay, fine. So just enable this one and save the form. Then close it. Close the form. Next, this 10 quantity we have to deliver, right? To the sub inventory. Next, continue. Again, create corrections. 2 times you have to create the corrections. 1 time for receiving, 1 time delivering. Navigation, inventory, transactions, receiving, corrections. Select receipt number 5012. Select button find. Select button find. Select button find. Now enable the line, this one, deliver. Earlier I was corrected in receiving. You see here how much quantity available? 10. That I am delivering now, 10. Now enable this delivery line. Save the form. Save the form. So earlier how much quantity delivered? 30. Now how much quantity delivering? 10 quantity. Save the form. Then close it. Close the form. Now totally you can find the receipt quantity 40. On hand is 640. Receipt quantity now adjusted to the 40. Earlier we created receipt with 30 quantity, now adjusted with 10 quantity. So totally against this receipt, how much quantity we received? 40 quantity. That is what corrections. Now we can find the 640 in the on hand. So next is what? Standard purchase order we created till now. Next remaining there are 3 purchase orders. Blanket purchase agreement, contract purchase agreement, planned purchase order. So when you will go for normally creating the standard purchase order, that already we discussed first in the first class. When we start creating the purchase orders, it's a one-time commitment you will have with your supplier. Against this purchase order, it's not a mandatory to receiving whatever quantity you ordered 100%. I ordered 10 tons. Supplier supplied 9 tons, 999 kgs is supplied. Again, will you follow for 1 kilo? Normally, it's not required. So, I will not do any further transaction with this purchase order. So, this is what, in general, in business terminology, so we can say, once I received material against this purchase order based on the maximum tolerance, I'll not further do any transactions. But technically, in the Oracle application, what do you say? When I know what is the item required, how much quantity required, when it is required, in which inventory organization required, what is the price of the item, I'll go for creating the standard purchase order. Next, remainings are, first you write it, create a heading, blanket purchase agreement. Heading is blanket purchase agreement. another purchase order. It's not a order, it's an agreement. So blanket purchase agreement. So what is the blanket purchase agreement? So agreement meaning is what? For the agreement normally it will have the duration. It will have the any short term or long term. So it will have the duration, agreement amount, terms and conditions. So you will maintain in the agreement. See, against agreement, directly you will not receive the material. Against agreement, whenever material required, first you have to create the another document. Against this agreement, you ship the so and so item, so and so quantity. So here, this is the another document is called. It is what? Blanket release. It is agreement and release. Against agreement, in the span of the agreement time duration. So whenever material required, buyer will create the blanket release. Against blanket release, inventory people will receive the material into organization. Directly they will not receive the material against blanket release. See, now we are having the agreement. We are preparing the agreement, just completed. So will you expect in the future when you will have the requirement in your organization? In which inventory organization, how much quantity will have the requirement, that we can't expect it. This agreement duration is 1 year. In the 1 year time, whenever have the requirement in the inventory organization, so buyers will prepare the another document name is blanket release. Against blanket release only they will receive the quantity into organization. So while having the blanket agreement, will you specify how much quantity required in the future? Is it possible? We can't specify it. But what are the items we are going to purchase? What will be the price? That will decide at the time of agreement. Right. So again, before creating, approving agreement and blanket release, we have to define the approval group and approval assignments. Continue. So you define two separate approval groups. Otherwise, you can continue with same approval group also. Better you create new approval group. Why I am asking you, why I am telling you. In approval group, how many objects are there? How many objects are there? Document total, account range, category range, item, location. For the purchase requisition, for the standard purchase order, what are the objects mandatory out of 5? Document total and account range. Why? Because in the purchase requisition, charge account we are selecting. In the standard purchase order also you have to select charge account. The charge account code must be within the account range. Otherwise you will face the problems. Approvals will be failed. But to create blanket purchase agreement, how many objects are mandatory out of this 5? This is another question in interview. Okay, I'll tell you. First you write it. Define approval group. You write it little faster. Define approval group. For BPA, navigation, purchasing, setup, approvals, approval groups. Purchasing, setup, approvals, approval groups. Select TM_BPA approval group object. Out of 5, document total, you select some anything, not a problem. 1 lakh. Select 1 lakh. Save the form. Meaning is what? For the BPA, document total is enough. Remainings are not required. What does that mean? In the BPA, I will not select any charge account. Charge account normally in which form select in the purchase order? Distributions. That means what? Again, distributors distribution form available in which form? Shipments. So what does that mean? In the BPA, no need to, that means you will not find any shipment details, you will not find any distribution details. That means if not available shipments, distributions in the purchase order document, no need to select account range. That is not required. So for the purchase requisition, standard purchase order. What are the approval group objects are mandatory? Document total and account range. Only account range is enough for BPA. Why? Because where I will not maintain any shipments. In the shipment form, what type of information will maintain? Inventory organizations. Inventory organizations I will not specify in the agreement. Why? Because I can't expect it in which inventory organization I will have the requirement in the 1 year of agreement. And distributions also not required. If not selected inventory organization, how you can select the sub inventory details? That also not possible. If not required to select sub inventory details, no need to select any charge account details. If charge account is not available, why we have to select here accounting range? Only document total is enough. Then save the form, close the form. Next, in the same way, define approval group for blanket release. Define approval group for blanket release. Define approval group for blanket release. Navigation, purchasing, setup, approval groups. Purchasing, setup, approval groups. Select TM underscore blanket release object. See, whenever have the requirement against BPA, will create the blanket release. When you are creating blanket release, what are the details you have to select? Whatever items you specified in agreement, with those items only you have to create the blanket release. So system, it will not allow you creating blanket release with different items. That is the one thing. And this item require in which inventory organization? What does that mean? Shipments. As required, we can select the sub inventory also. If we can able to select sub inventory, what does that mean? Where you have to select the charge account. Right. So in this case, you have to select document total as well as account range. So first you select document total only 10,000. Account range 10,000. 0001 5,000 0020. Select OK. Lower range, higher range. Be given. Save the form. Next, define approval assignments. Define approval assignments. Define approval assignments. Navigation, purchasing, setup, approvals, approval assignments. Navigation, purchasing, setup, approvals, approval assignments. Purchasing, setup, approvals, approval assignments. Select position, TM underscore PO manager. So normally, higher people will have the document BPA, lower level people will have the blanket release normally in real time practical environment. but changing log into the different users, I'll assign both documents to the same user. So select document type, blanket purchase agreement. Approve blanket purchase agreement. Approval group limit, TM underscore BPA approval group. Next, approve blanket releases. TM underscore blanket release. Actually, here I assigned both to the same position, but real time in practical environment, BPA you will assign to the senior manager, general manager. Release you will assign to the manager. Save the form. So you can select here BPA assigned to the general manager, release assigned to the manager. BPA how to create from general manager user, blanket release you have to create from manager user. You have to log in, log out the sessions. And instead of that, here with the same session we can complete it. Then close the form. Next continuation. Create BPA. Create BPA. Navigation. Purchasing PO. Purchasing PO. Purchasing PO. Select your type. Blanket purchase agreement. Select type. Blanket purchase agreement. Select supplier. TM underscore Bajaj. Select ship to site. Select bill to site. See here, from this form, you tell me what you noticed, what changes noticed from standard purchase order to blanket purchase agreement. Type, that only. Earlier I was created standard purchase order, now I am creating the BPA. What changes here available? What? Here in the bottom there is no shipments. That is the reason only we created document total. Account range is not required. And another thing is quantity field in grayed out. That I can't expect it in future. How much quantity will require, in which inventory organization required. So now select items. TM underscore nut. So price 10 rupees as per agreement. So my supplier committed in the duration of the agreement, this item he will supply with 10 rupees. If agreement duration is 6 months, he will supply with 10 rupees only. And you tell me whether need by date required or not. Not required. So need by date, everything in grayed out. Then, and one thing, okay, here supplier accepted with 10 rupees supplying in agreement duration. But there is another condition also. You purchase at a time 50 quantity. Supplier accepted, he is ready to give 10% discount. If purchase less than 50 quantity, supplier will not give any discount. If purchase 50 or more than 50, he will give the discount 10%. If purchase more than 100, he is ready to give 20% discount. These are the again terms and conditions, right? How we can select, where you can select it? You go to price breaks. Go to price breaks. Select price breaks. Here, quantity. Select 50. Discount 10%. Discount 10%. After discount, what will be the price? 9 rupees. And select next line. At a time, if purchase 100 quantity, is ready to give 20% discount. So after 20% discount, price is 8 rupees. And there is organizations, inventory organizations. So it is not a mandatory to select. If selecting meaning, what does that mean? Organization selected. What does that mean? So these discounts are eligible for that particular inventory organization. If I selected TMH, this discount only applicable for TMH. If purchase material for Bangalore inventory organization, even more than 50, more than 100, so this organization is not eligible for discounts. If not selected anything, so these discounts are applicable for all the inventory organizations. This is what? So save the form. In the same way, you listed all the agreement, all the items, whatever items you want to save. The supplier will supply hundreds of items, thousands of items. But agreement we are having for the some specific items. TM underscore gold. This price is 5 rupees. But supplier is not ready to give any discount if purchase n number of quantities. So I am not creating price breaks. So likewise, you listed all the items. Then go to terms, go to terms, go to terms. In the terms, what is the agreement effectivity dates? From today to what is the end date? 6 months, 1 year, anything you can select it. But I am not going to select that many days. Here I am selecting only 30. So this is what? From 13 to 30 agreement duration. Here I selected less time, but in real time we will select the some long time. So minimum agreement limit, so amount limit is what? Amount limit is 50,000. 50,000 is the amount limit. So this agreement amount is 50,000. Minimum release. Against this agreement, minimum how much worth of material you have to purchase it. Say if having requirement for one bolt, one nut. So will you order for this one quantity, one quantity? See, even if you order, supplier will not supply. At least you order minimum 500 rupees. Minimum 500 rupees. Select 500. Minimum order quantity. Price update tolerance meaning now given the price 10 rupees, 5 rupees, right? In future, suddenly, abnormally, prices are changed that are more or less. Say, bolt price suddenly changed to the 5 rupees. Sorry, nut price. So as a customer, you feel right. See, unnecessarily we had agreement with 10 rupees. Now market price is 5 rupees. In the same way, when we had agreement, nut price was 10 rupees. Suddenly in the market, price was increased to the 15 rupees. Then supplier will feel. So unnecessarily we had an agreement with this customer. Now this price is 15 rupees. So we are losing our profit. So again here also in both sides plus or minus. So maximum how much you can update plus or minus percentage 10% we can increase or we can decrease in future anytime, right? So then save the form, then close the form. So here amount agreed also you selected. Minimum amount limit 50,000. Minimum release. So here you select. So agreed amount is 80,000. 80,000. Then submit for approvals. Select button approve. That must be same. Yeah. 50,000 you select here. This must be same. Save the form. Then submit for approvals. Select button approve. Select OK. So agreement is created for some duration with specific items. Now against this agreement, always you can see normally when you will have the agreement with your supplier, when you have any priority. If supplier giving priority to the customer, maybe there you may not have the different prices. For other customers, he will sell the item with same price. Even having the agreement, the supplier will sell the item with same price, but he will give the priority. Already one customer ordered for quantity that is available 100 only. This customer ordered 100 quantity. Then after you ordered quantity. So even though supplier will supply the material to the your organ. Why? Because you are the priority. When you have the agreement, both parties must have the at least minimum benefits. Then only that agreement will have the valid. If parties are doesn't have benefits, so that agreement it will not valid legally. So both parties. So supplier side must have some benefits and party side also that must have the benefits. Then only these agreements were valid. Otherwise, even if you proceed legally, so these agreements are not valid. This is what as per business law. So that is what if you see or not in economics, you can find that sentence. At least minimum benefits. One party can get benefit 1%, another party can get the 99%. That is valid. One party getting benefit 0, another party getting 100%. That is not valid one as per agreement rules. Then fine. So then note down the PPA number 4012. Then close it. Close the form. See now release amount is 0. Why? Because till now we have not yet created any releases. Then close the form. Next, continue. Now we are having the requirement for some items. Nut or bolt. Create blanket release. Create blanket release. Navigation, purchasing, PO, releases. Purchasing, PO, releases. Purchasing, purchase orders, releases. Select agreement number. Agreement number is what? 4013, right? 2, na? Okay, fine. So enter the here agreement number, tab out. Here this release you can create always with whatever items you specified in agreement. You can't create with different items. If you require different item, then how you can purchase, how you can procure? Again you have to create standard purchase order. So select here lines, nothing but PO lines. How many PO lines we created? 2. Here in the LO we can find the 1 and 2. Line 1 created for nut item, line 2 created for. That meaning is what? Always release you can create with these two items only. So nut item. Now it is mandatory selecting the inventory. In which inventory organization material required? TMH. How much quantity required? Whatever quantity. But here if you want to check it, if you select 55, how much price will default? 9 rupees. Already we selected price breaks. If select more than 100, 8 rupees. But if you select n number of quantity for the bolt, you will not find any price breaks. Why? Because not created any price breaks. Okay, now need by date. When it is required? Some today or tomorrow, anytime. You select it. Need by date. And distributions. Distributions, what type of information you will select? Sub-inventory details and charge account details. So this is the reason we created approval group with document total and account range. So save the form. Otherwise you can select sub-inventory details. It is not a mandatory. Save the form. Charge account is defaulted. This is the charge account. So then submit for approvals. Select button. Likewise for bolt item also, now we don't have requirement for bolt. Only we have requirement with nut. Select approve and save. Okay. Release amount must be greater than. Yeah. See now what happened? It is 495, right? What we selected minimum release amount 500. So better you select 60 quantity. Now it is 540, more than the minimum. Then submit approve. Select approve. Select OK. So now release is created for how much amount? 540. 540, 640. 540 only. So actually agreement amount is what? 50,000. So those details you can find it in the releases. So 50,000. Now we released 540. Same you can find in the agreement form also. So let me show you that one also. Now this release I will send it to my supplier. Against this release, supplier will supply the material. That's okay, fine. So just let's show you here. 5012. Earlier it was 4012. Earlier it was 0. Now it is 540 already. So now how much quantity remaining still? This minus this. Still you can purchase that amount. Then next, continue. Create receipt against blanket release. Create receipt against blanket release. Navigation, purchasing, receiving receipts. Purchasing, receiving receipts. Purchasing, receiving receipts. Select organization. Select purchase order number 4012. Select button find. Select button find. Sorry, how you can select find? First you have to select the release, right? So first you select agreement number. Select release number here. How many releases created till now? Only one. Select button find. See, always you will receive the quantity against releases, not against BPA. So select release number, select button find. How much quantity we created against this release? 50 or 60. So if you want, you can receive 60 quantity. So sub inventory also defaulted. I was selected. Save the form. This is what PPA. Then close the form. So now Here this one created releases manually, right? So automatically also we can generate the blanket release. So this is what sourcing rule. So same time we'll complete the sourcing rule also, right? So instead of creating manually, I want to create blanket release automatically. So how we can test it, this one? Through minimax planning, reorder point, Kanban, or back-to-back drop ship, ASCP, MRP. From anywhere we can automatically generate the blanket release. We can schedule it, programs. Fine. Continue. Do one thing. Here, write it. Next, continue. Manage sourcing rule. Manage sourcing rule with PPA. Manage sourcing rule with PPA. With PPA. Manage sourcing rule with PPA. Just a minute. This item will work. Step 1. Clear on hand for the item, or create miscellaneous issue transactions. Create miscellaneous issue transactions. Navigation, inventory, transactions, miscellaneous transactions. Inventory, transactions, miscellaneous transactions. So here I'll not wait. So you know how you can create the miscellaneous receipt transactions. TM underscore NAT, sub inventory. Here available 500. So let me clear 500 quantity. Account is some account, you select it. What accounts available? Something you select it. And the second line, same item. Sub inventory is here 160 available. Item is same. Sub inventory 3. Here how much is available? 40. So entire quantity I am going to clear. So now I will have the on hand how much? 0. After completion of the transactions. Then close it. Next, continue. Manage minimax planning for the item. Manage minimax planning for the item. Navigation, inventory, items, master items. Inventory, items, master items. Inventory, items, master items. So select F11, enter item, TM underscore NAT. Select F11, enter item, TM underscore NAT. Select control F11. Go to purchasing, select list price. Here when source is supplier, list price is mandatory, right, for the plannings. So list price is 2 rupees. Save the form. Save the form. Save the form. Save the form. Go to tools, organization assignment. Go to tools, organization assignment. So in which inventory you want to plan it? TMH only, right? Already that's selected. Select org attributes. Select org attributes. In the bottom, there is the button. Select org attributes. Go to purchasing tab. Go to purchasing tab. Go to purchasing tab. Select here also list price 2 rupees. Go to purchasing tab. Select 2 rupees list price. Go to general planning tab. Go to general planning tab. Select inventory planning method. Minimax. Minimum quantity 10. Maximum 100. Minimum quantity 10. Maximum 100. Why this planner is required? Okay. For sources, select supplier. Source select supplier. Then save the form. Save the form. Then close it. Close the form. Close the form. So minimax planning is completed. So next, continue. Create sourcing rule. Create sourcing rule. Create sourcing rule. Navigation, purchasing. Purchasing. Supply base. Sourcing rules. Purchasing. Supply base. Sourcing rules. Here, sourcing rule in automatic process, in automatic procurement system. So this item from which source will refill in our organization. What are the sources are there to refill the stock for the item? Supplier. Next, inventory. Next, sub inventory. Next, production. Already that we discussed in inventory plannings. But that I did everything manual. Now I am going to do automatic. So here, and one more thing, I want to procure 50% quantity from supplier. I want to produce 50% of quantity in my production. Is it possible? Getting my point. Say my plant capacity, it is less, so as required will I produce, at the same time I will purchase from my supplier. Is it possible? One item at a time, it is acting as a make item as well as buy item. How it is possible? Make item origin can be a buy or make. Then how we can maintain? You can select either buy or make. Then at a time, how we can create the work order, how we can create the purchase order? Now I have the requirement 100. I want to create manufacturing work order for 50 quantity, purchase order 50 quantity. How system will allow? See, originally this item is what? Purchasing or make item? That can be anything originally. Originally we are producing this item actually. My plant capacity is we can produce maximum 50 quantity at a time. More than that we can't produce it. Now slowly we are getting more demand. What I am doing, I am taking the help from my another manufacturer. So with the same design, with the same material quality, you produce same this item, I'll purchase from your organization. That is already we had a agreement with our supplier, manufacturer. Now this item already we defined as a make item. So obviously system it will allow me creating the work orders. But same time system has to allow me creating purchase orders. When it will allow you?
You have to enable purchasable. Item is make item only. You enable purchasable. For manufacturing, you have to enable built-in WIP. Same time we can do it with it will act as a buy as well as make. But originally make item. Earlier it was production item. Same time now we are purchasing. That's okay, fine. So that means what? Sourcing rule, how we can define it now? Now, how many sources are available to maintain the stock for this item? Production and supplier. Allocation 50%, 50%. These two sources will fulfill the 100% requirement. That's okay. Now here, select organization TMH. Here there is the, so the sourcing rule applicable for only TMH or all organizations. You can select all organizations also, not a problem. But we are defining in TMH. Even defining TMH, so this rule will applicable for all organizations. But if you select org, you can't use this sourcing rule under other inventory organizations. Now there is the planning active checkbox. That must be in enable mode. Then only this sourcing rule will work for automatic procurement. Then you come down here, select the name TM underscore sourcing rule 1, select from date, from when you want to use it. Don't select end date if you want to use this rule. Here, type buy from. What is the source? Supplier. Transfer from. What is the source? Inventory. Make from. Production. So here I am selecting first buy from. Who is the supplier? TM underscore Bajaj. Supplier site. Here allocation is what? 50% or 100%. If you are maintaining both, then you maintain the 50. But this item always will purchase from supplier 100%. Rank 1. That must be a 1. Now here I selected 50%. Here I selected 50%. What is the next line rank? What? 1 or 2? I am giving the equal priority for both sources. That must be a 1. If it is 2, meaning is what? If any case this supplier is not in position to supply, then which is the next source having ranking 2, that supplier will supply. That is the meaning. And this allocation must be always equal to 100%. Even if you select, and one more thing, I have the two suppliers. One supplier always supply 60%. Another supplier will supply 40%. Then how we can select? Select next line, buy from. Here you select the supplier name. Here select the 40%. Again, this is equal to how? What is the allocation percentage? 60-40 equal to 100. Always that must be 100. Then save the form. Then only the checkbox will enable. Sometimes they will ask you, I define sourcing rule, but planning active checkbox is disabled. Why? You have to ensure it that allocation must be equal to 100%. Then close the form. TM underscore SR1. See, when this planning active checkbox enabled, this allocation must be 100%. If it is 60%, 99% also it will not enable. Then close the form. Next, define sourcing rule assignment set. Define sourcing rule assignment set. Define sourcing rule assignment set. Navigation, purchasing, supply base, purchasing, supply base, assign sourcing rules. Purchasing, supply base, assign sourcing rules. Assign sourcing rules.
Purchasing, supply base, assign sourcing rules. Select the assignment set, TM underscore sourcing rule assignment set. Sourcing rule assignment set. Assign to. Here you can select the combination. Only if you select item, this assignment set you can use in all the organization. If you select item organization, you can use this rule within the inventory organization. Select item organization. Here organization is what? TMH. Select organization TMH. Select item. What is the item? TM underscore nut. TM underscore nut. Select assign to criteria. Item organization. Organization. Item. Select type. Type is what? Sourcing rule. What is the sourcing rule name? TM underscore SR1. TM underscore SR1. Organization, item, type, sourcing rule, and my sourcing rule name. Save the form. Close the form. Save the form. Close the form. Next, continue. Select MRP colon default sourcing rule assignment set. Select MRP colon default sourcing rule assignment set. Select MRP colon default sourcing rule assignment set. Navigation, system administrator, profile system. System administrator, profile system. Enable the responsibility. Checkbox, select responsibility, TM underscore purchasing. Select profile name, MRP colon default sourcing rule assignment set. Something you select it. So here select responsibility level. What is your sourcing rule name? TM assign set. TM sourcing rule assignment set 1. Select OK. Save the form. Save the form. Then close it. Close the form. Next, continuation. Define ASL. That means approved supplier list.
Define approved supplier list. Define approved supplier list. Navigation.
Navigation. Purchasing. 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 Supply base. Approved supplier list. Purchasing. Supply base. Approved supplier list. Open the form. Select organization TMH. Select OK. Select OK. Here select item. What is the item name? TM underscore nut. Select supplier name, TM underscore Bajaj. Supplier site. So here status is new. So here there are different statuses are there: new, approved, debarred, review. If first time I am purchasing from this supplier, I will select new. If supplier is supplying on material on the prompt quality material, then I will change to the approved. If not supplier supplying material promptly, supplying less quality material, I'll select the debarred. Okay. So if I want to still you want to see supplier performance, you keep it on review. So let me select here approved. Select status approved. Select status approved. So then go to record details. Here select global yes. That means this ASL I want to use across the operating units, across the inventory organizations. Select global yes. See now tell me what is the ASL? It is in another important interview question. What is the ASL? Approved supplier list. ASL is what? Where I list the suppliers with their statuses for the item. Here I listed my suppliers with their status for the item. This is what? ASL. Save the form. So whatever now I told you definition, is it enough for giving more about ASL? You can provide more about ASL. Select attributes. Select attributes. Select attributes. Here, releasing method. Release method is what? Automatic release or automatic release review or release using auto create. Say automatic release meaning if you select this one, system will generate the blanket release and itself approve. No need to again submit for approvals manually. That means what? You will find the auto generated. So system will generate blanket release with approved status. So say second one, if you select, system will generate the blanket release but with incomplete status. You have to review manually, you have to submit for approvals. If you select this one, system will not release automatically. There is another form, auto create form, right? I was shown you in Minimax planning how to auto create purchase order from purchase requisition. Now recently also I shown you how to create RFQ from purchase requisition. Here also against that requisition with through auto create form you can create the blanket release. Let me select first one, blanket auto release. Here source documents, against which document you want to release automatically. What is the document name? Source document is what? To create releases, what is the source document? Huh? Against what you will create the blanket release? BPA, blanket purchase agreement. Select that one, blanket purchase agreement. What is the number, agreement number? 4012 na? 4012. 4012. Against which line? There are two lines, right? Which line? Only line 1. So select, this is what? Agreement status is approved. Save the form. Save the form. Now you tell me what is the ASL? ASL is what? Where I list the suppliers with their statuses to supply that item. Along with that, for the automatic procurement process, I'll select the source document details also. Not only that, still we can provide the more details about it, ASL. We'll see later. Okay. So then close the form. Then close the form. Now how many releases till now we created against this agreement? Only one. Now I am planning to auto generate. right? You tell me what are the minimax planning steps you have to perform? Submit minimax planning report, submit requisition code program, find auto-generated requisition, auto-create purchase order. Actually, earlier. Now, find auto-generated blanket release. Why? Because BPA is existed. If BPA is not available, it will auto-create the standard purchase order. Then create the receipt. Fine. Schedule minimax planning report. Schedule minimax planning report. Navigation, inventory, planning, minimax planning. Inventory, planning, minimax planning. So my scheduling is what? I will not submit this manually. In the minimax planning concept, I was submitted this report manually. But here, every day, this is what? In the morning, at so and so 10 o'clock, this program must be run. Otherwise, every day, every minute, this program has to run. So based on periodically, cycle, you can select anything. So open the form. Organization is TMH. Organization TMH. So planning level, organization level. Only you see when you are scheduling, you should not specify much details. I was selected earlier item from, right? If you continue with item from, what will happen? System always this minimax plan run for that specific item. If any other items are less than minimum quantity, system it will not consider. So just you select only restock. Yes. Don't select any other details. Why? Because I am not scheduling this program for the specific item, specific planner, specific locations. I want to run this for all items, all planners, all item categories. Select OK. Next is what? How periodically you want to run this one? Monthly once, weekly once, day once, every minute, anything you can select it. But this program has to run every minute. So select button schedule. Select button schedule. Select periodically. Select periodically. And one thing, start from today, right? Start from today. And one more thing, in your practice instances lab, you must provide you better provide the end date. If you leave it, what will happen? Continuously, this will run every minute. So you better select only 15th. Only we are selecting 3 days. After 15th, it will not run. Right. So how you want to run? Rerun one time every minute. Here there are every minute, every hour one time, every day one time, every week one time, every month, anything. So here I am selecting every minute. This 3 days, every minute minimax planning automatically will submit. 3 days. And once again I am telling you, so in your laptops or in the lab, without selecting the end date, that too don't select end date, month, years, again, only select 2 days, 3 days maximum. Okay. So select, if you select 1 month, what till month, every minute this program will run. So if you want to test it manually, you can't test it. Here you will define the setup, you will find automatically submitted minimax planning. That is the problem. So then when you schedule it, manually you can't submit the minimax planning. There is no option. Why? Because here you will define the minimum maximum quantity. After closing the form, immediately we will find the running report. Select OK. Then select button, submit. Submit another request, no. Next, continue. Schedule requisition import program. Schedule requisition import program. Navigation, purchasing, view request, purchasing, view request, submit a new request, select single request, select OK. Select OK. What is the program name? Requisition import. Here also don't select import source. I was selected earlier. If select import source, what will happen? Always system will import the data from particular source, INV only. So group by all. Then remaining don't select. Select OK. Select OK. Select button schedule. Select button schedule. Select button schedule. Periodically. Select radio button periodically. Select button periodically. Every minute. Here also. And one more thing. Don't forget end date. This one also I am giving 15. Select end date. Select end date. Rerun one time every minute. Every minute. See, every 1 hour also you can select, not a problem. Again, I can't wait hour, right, to complete this one. That is the reason every minute here I am selecting. There is another process is there. So apply, save one name, we can provide it. Always you can find it and you can update it, not a problem. Select OK and select button, submit. Submit another request, no. Then close the forms. Now what will happen? This Minimax planning report, requisition import program. Every minute will run. See? Go to view. Just see. It's okay. Don't write it. Find. See here. Minimax planning running. Requisition import program running. See? How many times already submitted? Why? Because every minute is submitting. So once again see. Again submitted. Whether items are available or not less than minimum quantity, this program will run. If available less than minimum quantity, that data it will transfer to the purchasing interface tables. So request import program also already we scheduled. If data is available in purchasing interface tables, this program automatically will transfer to the purchasing base tables. Right, it will auto generate the purchase requisition. This item having any BPA? When create releases program is completed, you will find auto generated blanket release. Right. So now close the form. Continue. Find auto generated purchase requisition. Find auto generated purchase. See here you can ask. See why again purchase requisition is coming between what I told you. Here this scenario we are testing to auto generate blanket release. Why in between purchase requisition coming into picture? Huh? So normally when you will have the requirement, you will create the blanket release. Our system will know requirement to purchase requisition. That is the reason system will generate the purchase. If purchase requisition is not generated, system will not generate any blanket releases. Navigation, purchasing, requisitions, requisition summary. Purchasing, requisitions, requisition summary. Quickly complete it, write it. So how I can find it? Through item, I don't know. So TM underscore NUT. See, against NUT, earlier also we created purchase requisitions. If you select directly find, what will happen? System will list all the requisitions. But I want to see today what are the requisitions created. So then what you can do, go to date range. Select creation date, today date. From date, I am filtering. If not selected dates, you can find all the requisitions. Select button, find. So no records meet your search criteria. What does that mean? It is failed to generate the purchase requisition. Why it is? We did almost all the setups. Start recording. So find purchase requisition, right? Requisition summary. Item TM underscore NUT. So date range, select creation date, today date, select button, find. No problem with this. What happened? అది మాన్యువల్ క్రియేట్స్